Welcome to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship, where we keep it real about what it takes to build, grow, and thrive. Here, you'll hear the unfiltered journeys of women entrepreneurs from everywhere, the wins, the setbacks, the lessons, and the behind the scene truths of aligning, starting, and scaling our businesses with purpose. Because let's be real, this road ain't always pretty. From battling self doubt to juggling responsibilities and facing the pressures to have it all figured out, this hustle can be pretty heavy. That's why this space exists to fuel you with the motivation, drop strategic gems on the topics that matter most, and remind you you are not in this alone. This is the Woman's Hustle. Hey guys, welcome back to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship. It's your girl, Kisha. Welcome back to another empowering episode. Listen, if you have not by now, make sure you have subscribed to Upgraded MindsetZ Media. If you're listening audio-wise, then make sure you have favorited the Woman's Hustle on your favorite streaming platform. These have been some amazing guests, and today is going to be no different. I'm going to allow her the honor of introducing herself. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me on. So, hello everyone. My name is Sara Nay. I'm the CEO of Duct Tape Marketing, and I'm happy to be here with you.
I am so happy to have you here. We are going to talk about some things that I know has been very, very trending right now. And that is with regards to AI and all of those things. But I love Sarah's approach in regards to her business and everything like that. She's going to give y'all some raw and uncut feedback when it comes to AI, because I think sometimes we are just on the base of it. So I'm going to love to talk to her more a little bit about that. But please, Sarah, share with us a little more about your backstory and what got you with Duct Tape Marketing.
Yeah. Of course, I've been with Duct Tape Marketing for 16 years now, actually. I started as an intern all those years ago. I've had pretty much every role within our company. And last December, so 2 Decembers ago, I stepped into the CEO seat and have been at that for a little over a year now.
Nice.
It's really been a great learning journey over
Oh,
those
I
years.
bet.
And Duct Tape Marketing is we are a fractional CMO business. So we work directly with clients where we come in and we create marketing strategy and then we stay on as a retainer, sitting in the chief marketing operating seat, the fractional seat. But then we also certify and train marketing consultants, agencies, and fractional CMOs on how to build, grow, and scale marketing practices. So everything that we do is based on strategy. Everything that we do is in the small business space.
I love it. I love it. And that's where it matters. We as small businesses, we don't really understand sometimes the depth of the ecosystem of building that. And I use the word ecosystem because there's so many things. You had a good point you just said, like you started off as an intern, but you pretty much was in almost every position before you stepped into the CEO. So like that's
Yeah.
just like the prime example of an ecosystem to me, just being able to learn those things. What was your experience, with regards to the different positions? One you liked the most,
Yeah.
besides CEO, of course, but one you liked the most, the one you disliked the most, which one?
Yeah, there's been a lot of learning along the way, because as an intern, I obviously didn't even really know what I wanted to do or what path I wanted to go on at that point. I was just kind of experimenting. The roles that were challenging for me, we didn't have as much structure in our company when I was in like the fractional CMO account manager seat for a long time. And so I was kind of straddling both of those roles, account manager and fractional CMO. I was managing most of our clients, most of our execution team. I essentially, and I know a lot of business owners can relate to this, I was wearing, I don't know how many hats at that time. I was spread too thin. I was near burnout, high stress, high anxiety. And we were able to put structure in our business now where every single fractional CMO on our team has an account manager that they partner with and they collaborate and they work together in a team. So I had to go through that experience to understand how hard it was to then be able to put structure together to make it a better experience for people on our team moving forward. So that was definitely like the hardest
I
part
bet.
path that I've had in our career. What I loved and where I saw a lot of growth, I was in our COO seat for a long time. And my dad actually founded Duct Tape Marketing. So he was in the CEO seat. I worked alongside him for several years as the COO, and I just learned and grew a ton. I've always been operational minded, systems and processes minded. But working alongside him when he was in the CEO seat, it helped me really become more strategist, more visionary, more big picture thinking. And so that's helped set me up for success to be in the CEO seat today, because not a lot of people can go both ways, like where I can do ops, I can do systems, I can do processes, I can do details, but I also can do visionary work as well and strategy work as well. So being able to bring both of those pieces together, I think make me a better leader today.
Yeah, I love that. And I think I love that you are open to those things, right? Like open to learning. You said that a couple times. And I think that's just so important as we build wherever we're going within our business, whether we're building it to scale it for us for long term or whether we're building it to sell it eventually. I think that that's so critical to be able to learn those
Mm,
things. I think that that's super important. I wanted to talk to you about the trending thing we all know, and that's AI. I know that you work a lot, with the businesses that you work with
yeah.
regards to that. And I want to ask you, like, what is like one of the biggest mistakes you see when it comes to small businesses when they're trying to add like AI to their marketing? Because I know that's something that you do, but I'd love to hear like your insight on that.
Yeah, the most common thing I see is people start with the tools versus the strategy. And so
Mm,
they'll bring in like a chat GPT or a Claude or the LM of your choice, and they'll start there versus taking a step back and understanding what is the business trying to accomplish? Like, what's the business strategy? What's the marketing strategy? What's our brand? What's our voice? What's our guidelines? What's our stories we want to tell? What do we want to be known by? You need to put all of that work in to then say, okay, what are we going to do on an ongoing basis from a marketing perspective to help tell those stories and connect with our audience? And then you can say, okay, what tools should we bring in to elevate humans so they can do more human things, and then use these tools to basically optimize our time? So that's the appropriate way to do it, is like starting with the strategy and the planning and then identifying the tools. But then once you bring in a tool, you then, like, let's say ChatGPT for simplicity's sake, then you need to spend some time training ChatGPT on your story, on your audience, on, what makes you unique, on your brand, on your voice, on your tone, like all of those things, to then be
mm,
able to use a tool like that to be able to create content moving forward if that's what you're using it for. And so where people miss is they skip the strategy behind determining what to bring in, but then they also miss the strategy to train the tools properly. So then they bring in these tools and they create more noise and confusion within their team
mm,
versus impact. I saw a stat recently where like 86% of companies or something along those lines have brought in AI tools, but only like 5% of those are actually making an impact and being more productive in the work that they're doing. And so there's this disconnect on how do we bring these tools in, but how do we actually use them to help us and not just confuse us ultimately more.
I think I can relate to that so much because I think what happens is people say, "Oh my god, AI is here, so now I don't have to do these things. I don't have to
Yeah.
put any policies in place." But you still have, like you said, you still have to train things. It's no different than you bringing a new employee in, or a new independent contractor in. You still have to teach them. You still have to show them how you want things to go. And I think, and I've seen it where clients are coming to me and they're like, "Well, I want to do this, but I've done AI, I've used AI on this, and I am not a pro at AI and by
Mhm.
no means. So I don't even promote that within my business as of what I offer. But I do see where people come in and be like, "Oh, I've used that." So what are you using it for? Because if you're just putting in prompts all day to ask about something pertaining to your business, then you really got to say, like, that's not really utilizing it. You're really just trying to make it run for you. And I think that there's a difference because we still have to run our businesses. Do you get that with people where they're like, "Oh, I just want to be able to let this do this and I don't want to have to do anything." Like, do you have to
Yeah.
bring them back to reality sometimes?
Yeah, and especially today, I mean, it's still human in on the front end, human on the back end when it comes to AI. And
Yeah.
so I talk to a lot of people that, okay, so maybe you're doing something that you want to offboard to AI. And so, like in the marketing space, for example, maybe it's content production because it takes a lot of time.
Right.
So anyone that's in like the content production role before using AI, like they are executors, like they're doing everything from scratch. they're putting the work in. When you bring in AI, they're essentially in a way elevating to managers, even though they're managing an AI solution, but they still need to train and they still need to communicate and they still need to understand what good content looks like in order to run a process using an AI tool to produce content effectively moving forward. And so I've been telling, a lot of people that are in like the execution type of roles, regardless of what industry or work you're doing, if AI is going to be able to handle some of the execution moving forward, you really need to be focusing on leadership and management and communication skills. Because there will be, I believe, a day in the future where you're managing more processes that involve AI tools, but you have to be able to communicate and lead and understand big picture to be able to use these AI tools effectively.
The big picture, folks. Short term, everyday things, like those are things that you have to be worried about, like everyday operations. What's one tool that you think is overhyped and what's one that you think is underrated, just in your opinion and expertise?
Yeah, so I try like there's so many different AI solutions out there, to be honest, that I try to just tell people find, like, if you go through this strategy and you uncover what you're trying to accomplish, then just find the best tool to help you accomplish that thing. But also, you don't need to sign up for every single account. Stick to one and get good at it because they're all changing and evolving so
Very much
quickly
so.
that if you're thinking like ChatGPT versus Claude, it's like Claude makes huge improvements and then ChatGPT kind of catches up and then they keep kind of flip flopping. So I can't say like this is the tool for everything. I kind of am in the mindset of less is more. So get good at fewer tools versus signing up for absolutely everyone out there.
Yeah.
And so that's one caveat I want to say. I think Claude is one of the best tools out there right now. It is evolving very quickly. One that I would say is a little underrated or not underrated. A lot of people know about it, but not as many small businesses are using it yet is Notebook LM, which if you have a Google business account, you have access to Notebook LM. So it's not another subscription you have to sign up for, but it's a little bit of a different use case and not as many people are diving into that yet, I would say, as they should be.
Okay, and I'll be honest, I have Google Business and I did not know about that. See, y'all, I learned stuff too. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Notebook LM is a great platform as like a truth source,
Mm,
essentially. And so with the other LLMs, like they're pulling in information from the internet, it hallucinates. They make stuff up when they don't know the answer. Like that's just what they do with what
yeah.
ChatGPT does, for example, or Claude. But with Notebook LM, it's only pulling from the information that you provide it with. And so it's a great platform to use. Let's say you have like a book and you want to turn it into like audio format. It can change format so you can consume the information in a different way. Or how I use it frequently is if I have a sales call with someone and I ask permission to record, I
Yeah.
take that transcript, I put it into Notebook. Notebook also has our branding in there, and I can create a slide deck to give to the person that I spoke
Mm,
to within 20 minutes that basically outlines like what are their some of their pain points, where are they trying to go in terms of transformation and how our product or services might help get them there. And so
oh,
they get a customized, personalized slide deck within 20 minutes of getting off the phone with me. And not a lot of people are doing that yet. And so when you're able to deliver that kind of value using these solutions, it helps you stand out even more.
absolutely. Put you definitely ahead of the game. And definitely, I love how you just have so many different things that I know that's why you guys have been in business for so long, because you've probably inherited your innovativeness from dad, but I
Yeah.
love that. Like, I think that that is just awesome. And you are still like learning things. And I know when you probably see something, you're like, oh, let me take a moment. Let me see what's going on with this, doing your research on that. Is that something that you just do now as CEO, or I mean, just for yourself personally? Because I know you have the CEO, and I know you probably delegate, certain things too. But I just feel like that you still are like, hey, I'm gonna do some research and check on this myself as well.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think that's what's kept me at the same company for 16 years is I enjoy learning. There's something to learn every day in marketing. Now with AI, there's a new platform tool thing you can do that you can learn every single day. And so I think that's really an important piece is to always be growing, learning and evolving. But I will say on the AI piece, pretty much everyone feels behind. Like even people that spend a lot of their time learning about AI, like that's their core job function, they still
Yeah.
feel behind And so if you're listening to this and you're just like, oh my gosh, I have so much to learn, I'm so overwhelmed, start and just make a micro commitment. Start by learning, 5 minutes a day. Put a block on your calendar and start learning and reading and following, YouTube or blogs or whatever you want to read about that's talking about AI, and just make commitments to continue to focus on it, because everyone feels behind.
Yeah,
But I also believe that everyone needs to be leaning into it and focusing on it regardless what business you're in. It's impacting all of us at
I
this point.
agree. I agree with that. And I love that you touched on that too, because I do want to always talk about, our personal sides of things as far as making sure that we're not overwhelmed and
Yeah.
getting burnt out and stressed out and things like that. How do you kind of handle that when, there may be some overwhelming moments for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think running a business just means you're going to feel overwhelmed. It's not easy. It's not an easy space to
That
play
part.
in.
Absolutely.
I really do try to evaluate how I'm spending my time and how I'm feeling, and should I start or stop doing certain things. And so, I love podcasting, but when my schedule gets really crazy, I'll stop podcasting for a
Yeah.
while because it's just one more thing on my list that's not
Right.
necessary. It's just stuff
Mhm.
that I enjoy doing. And so I'm always kind of analyzing week by week, like, do I need to take some time off? And so I took like December and January off of doing any podcasts because I just needed to focus on some other things. And so being cognizant of how your time is being spent, and do you need to be doing these things, or are those like certain things on your list that you can pause or delegate or take off or just not do. And so I think it's a really important thing to continue to do, but also finding, whenever I get stressed or overwhelmed, I have hiking trails behind our house. Like if I just go out for like 10 minutes even with my dog, with no music, no phone, no nothing, and I just like walk or jog or something, and I come back in and I am in such a better space. So finding those things that can allow you to clear your head and think in a different way, I think is important as well.
I agree. I love that. I love that. And I love that you have the flexibility of going right behind the house and like
Yeah. Nice.
unplugging. Like I think that that's
Yeah.
good. 10 minutes a day can change the trajectory of an entire week. I don't think people understand that. Like I don't count my days by hours or by hours. I count it by minutes. Like because 10 minutes can change everything, for me. If there's a moment of overwhelm, there's times of being overwhelmed. And you are in an industry where I know the overwhelm is real. So
Yeah.
I really do appreciate you sharing that, but I also appreciate you, letting the audience know because the listeners need to hear that. They need to hear from someone who's been in this game for a while. So I appreciate that. I wanted to ask you before we get ready to wrap up, if there was one AI trend that you could ban, what would it be?
That's a good question. Honestly, I feel so I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. It's because being in the B2B space, like that's
Yeah.
where we should be spending our time. And LinkedIn quality has gone down, it
Ooh,
seems like, in terms of posts from people, because they are very AI generated and generic, because they're skipping all of that strategy piece on the front end. But then also the comments as well. Like I will post something and I can just see from people that are commenting, I'm like, that is straight from AI. Like you can tell completely. And so, and also the DMs that I get on LinkedIn that are very clearly AI as well from people pitching. And so, honestly, it's taken LinkedIn from being this space that felt like true connection to this space that feels a little spammy in ways. And so, it's unfortunate. I still think LinkedIn's a great platform, but
yeah,
you definitely have to filter through the noise there more than you ever had before. So, if I could ban some trend, it would be less AI on platforms like that.
I agree. I agree. I actually it had gotten so bad. I had logged off of LinkedIn for like 4 months cuz it had just gotten so
Yeah.
bad. Like where is the authentic connection? I agree with you on that, especially from a B2B standpoint. How can I
Yeah.
know that you are actually going to help me with my business if you're not even giving me the authentic version of you so I can know that that's it. So I agree with you on that 100%. I'm back on LinkedIn now, but it was for a while. I was like, yeah, I can't do this.
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. I mean, like with the comments on my post, you see a specific formula. It's like they highlight one key thing I said, and then like we'll ask a question to, like, and that's kind of like the structure that I see with a lot of AI stuff. But yeah, my messages on there, like the amount of outbound DMs that are hitting my inbox, both in email and on LinkedIn too. It's like I rarely respond to any LinkedIn messages because a lot of them are just people trying to pitch me on services
I
ultimately.
agree. I agree with that. All right, Sarah, before one last question before what's upcoming for you this year for the business, for the brand, and it's just everything for you as a person?
So for us, we have always been leaning into strategy before any execution. That's been our focus for the past 30 years. But this year, we're rolling out a couple of new initiatives with that where we're doing strategy first in a day for clients that I'm really excited. So essentially, we'll come to a client, we'll get their team in one room, we'll knock out creating a strategy using AI and teaching their team on how to use that moving forward to actually then transition into execution. So really excited to roll that out. And then we also are building marketing operating systems for our clients this year as well. And so we're real big believers in empowering our clients' teams and their businesses to help them increase value in their business over time. And so we're helping them build things like systems and processes and meeting and cadence and scorecards and all of the stuff that really makes marketing function successfully versus feeling more like a guessing game ultimately. So excited for both those initiatives.
I love that. That sounds awesome. Listen, guys, the show notes will have the website details, learn more about everything that they do because they do so much. But one thing that I want you guys to take away from this episode, if you don't take away nothing else, strategy is always going to trump. You cannot just throw things into a prompt and just allow it to try to run your business for you. Please make sure that you are strategically building the systems that you need to be effective and to continue to grow. Okay. Sarah, thank you so much for joining me today on The Woman's Hustle. I so appreciate all your expertise and feedback, and I know my listeners are as well. So, thank you so much for being here. All right, guys, you know what to do. If you have not by now, make sure you have subscribed. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time. Awesome, awesome, awesome.